Sometimes, between adults, something very small happens. There is no argument, no open refusal, no dramatic tension. And yet, a task does not remain where it was placed. It quietly shifts sideways. An old Turkish proverb captures this subtle human movement with remarkable clarity. Tilki tilkiye buyurur, tilki de kuyruğuna. The fox asks the fox, and the fox asks its own tail. Two foxes, both intelligent, both aware, both capable, and yet the task is never directly taken. There is no clear no, but there is also no clear I'll do it. The responsibility circulates. In the simplest form, I see it in very ordinary moments. You ask your spouse to bring something, a glass of water, the remote control, something small from another room. There is no refusal. Instead, your spouse turns to the child and says, "Can you bring that?" The task is not rejected, but it is not directly owned either. It moves one step away. And that small shift is the proverb itself. The fox asks the fox. The fox asks its tail. The task does not disappear. It simply changes direction. But this change is not a clear act of responsibility. It is more like a subtle distancing. The weight becomes lighter. The effort is placed slightly further away. Most of the time, this is not a calculated strategy. It is simply choosing what feels easier in that moment. Sometimes the child forgets, gets distracted, doesn't bring it, and eventually you stand up and get it yourself. That is when something becomes visible. The task has traveled, but it has returned to where it started. No one openly refused. No one openly accepted. It simply moved in a circle. And this does not only happen at home, it happens at work. An explanation needs to be made in a meeting. People look at each other. Maybe you should present it. You're closer to the issue. An email arrives. Instead of answering directly, someone adds another colleague to the thread. The responsibility shifts again. There is still no refusal, but there is no firm ownership either. And sometimes I wonder, perhaps I misunderstood this proverb all along. Perhaps the second fox already knows the tail cannot do the task. Perhaps asking the tail is not innocence. Perhaps it is protection. If you ask someone who cannot carry the responsibility, you have already protected yourself. You can later say, "I told them." The failure was predictable, but the effort was never yours. Maybe the fox asks its tail precisely because it knows the tail cannot act. And in that small, clever move, responsibility is gently avoided without ever saying no. This proverb does not describe conflict. It describes soft avoidance. Not dramatic power struggles, just small postponements, small comforts, a gentler version of saying, "Let me not carry this right now." Responsibility rarely disappears, it moves, and more often than we expect, it finds its way back to where it began. Perhaps that's why proverbs endure. They capture moments we experience repeatedly in daily life, but rarely pause to name. Is there a proverb that often comes to your mind in your own daily life? You can write it in the comments. If you'd like to share how you understand it, I'll try to reflect on it from my perspective as well. And maybe in a future video, we can look more closely at one of the proverbs you bring.